Can you see and hear me okay?
Yeah, now I can.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank y'all for joining us tonight in spite of all the technical difficulties. But if you're going to join us for any night, tonight's a better night than any because we have a lot of fun conversations and our favorite part of the holidays, giveaways.
Yep.
So,
So we have a surprise giveaway for you guys, but
ding,
you're going to have to be active.
yeah.
Yep, you're going to have to be active in the live tonight in order to be entered into the giveaway.
So if you love giveaways, definitely drop a gift box below in the comments. If you love giveaways, drop a gift box below because you never know how your engagement can lead to you being one of our prize winners tonight. Go ahead and grab your friends, invite them. Tonight's episode of Sips and Trips should be very fun. So if you haven't already, grab your favorite sip and join Jennifer and I for Sips and Trips.
And where are you headed? Because I feel like you've been walking for a long time.
Back to the area I'm set up at. I left my easel.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I'm not about to have to hold my phone. So I'm here.
Okay.
I wanted holiday vibes. So welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, Jen, you ready to get started?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, so you can start by introducing yourself and your favorite sip. Well, your sip for tonight.
Okay. Well, I'm Jennifer of Red Lips and Passports, and my sip is actually something that I don't like. It's eggnog. But I am sipping it because I'm trying to make myself like it.
Y'all see how she do me? I'm like, it's festive. We should drink eggnog. Not once did the lady say, I don't even like eggnog, but eggnog is super festive. I think I've told y'all before, I really, really like creamy drinks. So I
Yes,
have
you do
my,
like creamy drinks. I actually don't like creamy drinks, but I'm drinking my eggnog. And you know, I'm a team player. So if you say drink eggnog, I draw the line at donuts and bologna. If you said we was having donuts and bologna, then I got a problem with it.
I like donuts. Bologna, absolutely not. Eggnog, do y'all drink it? And if so, what are your favorite types? I realized tonight that they have had, this is the kind I've always had in my family's house. Like we've always had Pennsylvania Dutch, or we have the carton eggnog and we add liquor to it. So someone recently came to visit and they were like, I've never seen Pennsylvania Dutch eggnog. And I'm like, what type of eggnog do y'all drink for the holidays? If you drink it.
So normally, if I drink eggnog, I like it to have liquor. But since I'm not drinking, this is very not that fun.
You don't like it? Oh, because you don't like it at all, so you don't like it plain either.
So I'll drink it if it has liquor in it. But this
Okay.
is plain, so it's not like it isn't that great, and it's dairy free. So that's
Oh,
two
yeah.
strikes.
And see, me, I like it with liquor, plain. I just like eggnog. Jennifer,
Mm.
let's quickly invite some of our favorite people on here. Give us just a second. Slide in your DMs. Let me slide in mine. And if you have any people that you would like to invite, I think that tonight's conversation is worth getting as many people engaged in as possible. Not just because we have the giveaways, but also because I think we have some pretty fun questions. And so if you know anybody that loves to talk sips, that loves to talk, trips, and that loves sips, tonight's a great episode. Matter of fact, who knows? You invite some people to join us, that may enter you in to win one of those prizes too. So if you have some friends who you know like talking travel, like talking fun trivia, drop their X in the comments and let's make this a party.
Yes, 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 yes. Because we want you guys to be able to enter the giveaway.
For sure. And
So go
so,
ahead. I'm sorry.
what you say?
I was going to say, in the meantime, did you want to introduce yourself?
I guess I want to introduce myself. I'm just kidding. So my name is Tania. I am the owner of Travels by Tania, a full service travel company. And I also have a main page, which I'm joining in from right now, the House of Tania, that just kind of encompasses my many endeavors. But Travels by Tania is the page where you'll get your travel tips, your travel deals, where you'll get your entertaining travel reels. So definitely Travels by Tania is my travel page, but I'm joining now from my main page, the House of Tania. Nice to meet you. If I've never met you in person and you see me out, I love when y'all stop, say hello, let me know how you found me. I definitely would like to meet each of you in person if I have not already. So welcome to Sips and Trips. And tonight our sip is eggnog.
Eggnog. Yours is more fun than mine. Send me some through the video.
I got you. Here you go.
Thank you.
Here you go. So, ready to get started with tonight's conversation?
Yes, let's get started with tonight's conversation. So, should we do like a question for the audience?
Yes, we should. And how should we make them answer it? In the comments, or should they have to hop on live and share their answer?
Ooh. It would be fun for them to hop on live. So let's see if anyone is actually willing to do it. We have quite a few people that are on. So let's see if anyone is willing to do it.
Okay.
So this
Trivia question number 1 for a prize. Go ahead.
Question number 1 for a prize. In order to get it, you have to hop on the live to answer the question. So in the movie Baps, what city did Niecy and Mickey travel to in order for Niecy to audition for the Heavy D video? If you know the answer, hop on live with us.
This is one of my favorite movies. Like Baps is one of my all-time favorite. One of my costumes I said that I am going to wear one year is Halle Berry, that orange hole get up.
Yes.
And I have to be there for Halloween one year. I have not yet pulled it off, but that's who I want to be for Halloween one year. Anybody know?
Anybody know? And if you're not comfortable jumping on live with us, just comment, just answer in the comments. The question was, in the movie Baps, what city did Niecy and Mickey travel to in order for Niecy to audition for the Heavy D video? I know one of you guys knows the answer to this question. So drop it in the comments.
I know y'all know this too. This should be an easy one.
It should be an easy one. So
has everybody that's here seen Baps?
I know, that's a good question.
Maybe that's the problem.
Okay, well, let's go to our next question for the conversation for tonight. Okay. So last night we were talking on the phone, we were talking about risky behavior when posting on social media while traveling. Uh-oh. Okay, that's actually the state, but what city in California did they go to?
You might win a prize if you could drop the correct city, but go ahead, Jen. We'll check in after we finish this question, Angeline. That gives you some time to get it together.
So, last time we were talking about no-nos or like risky behavior while posting on social media while traveling. Inglewood. All right, now, I know you're joking because that's not even close.
I'm going to keep drinking my drink. Angeline's going to get it. I have faith in her, so go ahead.
Okay, so I was telling you how I had noted that I saw someone who recently went on their first international trip. Mm-hmm. And she was so excited, and she posted her ticket. Okay, we'll give it to you, Hollywood. And Samantha, I'm actually not surprised that you've never seen this movie before. I'd be more shocked if you told me you had seen it.
Good job, Angeline. For my page, go ahead and drop your information where you would like me to send your gift box to. Just go ahead and DM it to me, and I'll respond as soon as we get off this live. And I'm looking forward to adding a little joy to your holiday today by sending you over something special from Sips and Trips.
Yes, yes, yes. So what I was saying was, so I noticed this girl, she was, it was her and her husband, they took their first international trip together, and she posted her boarding pass, which is normally not an issue. However, it had her first name and last name and her confirmation number. I also knew what seat she was sitting in, right? So anyway, I sent her a message and I was like, hey girl, like, if I wanted to, I could cancel your ticket right now just with the information that you get that you provided. I could cancel your whole flight, your whole trip. And so it's just really interesting to me how unsafe, like things that you would think is common sense with travel. A lot of things I'm realizing that people just don't know, like tagging your exact hotel while you're there, not like posting once you leave. Like what are some things that you've seen people do that are pretty risky when it comes to travel posting on social media while traveling?
I'm going to be honest. This is actually something that I think that because I travel so much sometimes, or not even travel so much, because I hang out a lot in Houston, where I'm from, and sometimes, you live record from events, especially if you're there, trying to garner interest, get people there, if you're an influencer for certain events. I'm so used to sometimes getting live footage that I realized that when I travel, or I used to get live footage there too. This was years ago, but then I forgot the first person I saw was actually somebody on social media. It might have been Black Girls Who Brunch.
Mm-hmm.
She posted something like, I never post where I'm at while I'm there. And then I started seeing more women do that. And it was a while ago. And I started realizing then, especially when I travel, because I also travel solo at times. If somebody doesn't mean me well, how accessible am I making myself to them?
Mm-hmm.
Or even if somebody is in that same establishment, sometimes we go to restaurants. Hi, Kenyatta. Sometimes we go to restaurants and we'll do things like look at the restaurant while we're there to get an idea of what their food looks like, or what
Mm-hmm.
somebody else ordered. And let's say that somebody's doing that and you're a solo woman dining and they wouldn't have even known that had you not have posted in real time that you were there. And so that's one of the things I have stopped doing. I don't typically live post, and if I do live post, I don't share the location until after I'm gone.
Yeah, same. So it's funny because a lot of times people don't know exactly where I am because I'm always posting stuff from the past. And I mean, we traveled together recently. I think none of us posted exactly what we were doing
Right.
until like we were back at, like back at our hotel. We never said what hotel we were at. I don't think we ever shared exactly what hotel we were at, but you just never know because one thing I noticed is that protocols at hotels isn't always the same as it is in the US. In the US, if you say you need a key to your room, you typically have to give an ID. But I have been to hotels before when I was like, "Hey, I'm here to see guest X, Y, and Z," and they're like, "Oh, she's in room such and such." No, you have no proof that I'm not getting ready to murder this person, right? And you just gave me their room number. So you have to be extremely careful. And one thing that I had mentioned last night during our chat is that a lot of people um have their first and last name on their Instagram account, right? And so I could easily walk up to your hotel and say, okay, Tiffany Jackson, she's at the Grand Hyatt Zolera. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, let me pop up on her hotel room. What if the people gave me her hotel room, but just because I had her first and last name? So it's really important to kind of think about those things as you're posting because it is super exciting. If you don't post your trip, did you even go? Right. But you gotta really, really be safe when you're doing it.
I agree wholeheartedly. And what was it? A couple of days ago, Jennifer actually shared some tips. So if you don't follow Jennifer Red Lips and Passports, she just posted 4 no-nos or 4 things to not do while you're traveling, that kind of on social media. We post beautiful things like, the beaches that we go to, we post the food that we eat. But one of the things that Jennifer and I have always talked about being conscious is doing is also sharing the reality of our travels and to try to give you safety tips and authentic tips so that when you're taking these trips, you're a bit more informed because let's say it is your first trip out the country. Like Jennifer said, you're excited. Of course, you want to post everything. You want to post in real time. You want to tag where you are. But we just have to remember, like someone in our comments just said, safety first. Especially if you are a woman traveler, a solo traveler, a family traveling. Just to
Mm-hmm.
traveler in general, just be mindful of these things, and you have to decide how much of yourself do you want the world to have access to. And when you're posting on social media, you are giving them access to whatever you are posting, especially if it's in real time.
Exactly. Exactly. And actually, if you Verizon has a great article on safety tips for posting on social media while you're um okay, so the next question I have is every journey has its challenges. Can you think of a time during your travels that tested your patience and your problem solving skills?
I can think of several, but I think that the one that I'm going to always go back to is my first trip to Europe, the 18 days in Europe, where
Mm-hmm.
our luggage got lost. We flew
Oh
Europe
yes.
times. If you've never heard me tell this story, I'll make it quick. But went to Europe for 18 days. My first trip, not out the country, but my first long haul flight trip out the country. We went from London to Paris to Venice, Florence, Rome, and then Athens, Crete, Santorini, and Mykonos. So 18
Mhm.
days we're gone. We make it all the way through our trip almost. We've been on trains, we've been on planes, we've been on ferries. We have done all the things. We get on a flight from Rome to Athens, and we arrive in Athens, and not just our bags, but over half of the passengers from our flights arrive with no bags. This is 2015. There are no air tags there. We're just now really starting to, even as minorities, to even do this kind of travel. So you don't even really have Instagram pages to go to be able to pull these details. At that time, the best you had was Pinterest and magazines, and so arriving in Greece, and at this time I was a travel writer. I had all these wonderful outfits planned, all these different things planned. It's the last leg of my trip, so I don't even know if I had the standard couple of nights of clothes with me. We
Mm.
land, nothing. We had to go to like I think that we were in Athens. It's not like we were in a major city to where you had all these wonderful shops and things to go pick from. We ended up having to go shopping last minute to get clothes. I remember one of the people with us, the best they could find to like wear for us to even go to the pool the next day was a pair of swimming trunks and a white beater. I couldn't find any full coverage panties. Like, we really were out here trying to figure it out, and then having to, at that time, international packages were not free. Having to make multiple phone calls to try to locate my bags back and forth to the airport trying to figure out what went on. Then we found out that the airport in Rome had a fire. And that was the reason why bags were everywhere. It wasn't just our luggage missing. There were thousands of bags they were trying to find. And it was a whole ordeal. But the things I learned from that was the last time I took a long haul flight with a check bag. After
Hmm.
that, it became solely carry on, personal item. I can pack anything into a carry on and a personal item. If you want to see somebody put 25 outfits in a backpack, I've decided I'm going to start showing y'all that kind of content this year, because if you've ever packed with me, if you've ever been on a trip with me, drop a luggage bag, I guess, in the comments. I can pack. If I can't do shit else, I can pack. And that came simply from my bag getting lost multiple times and me arriving places where I was writing or where I was shooting content, and I'm down there with a pair of sneakers and some jogging pants on. Like, I don't check bags. And I also make sure that when I'm flying budget flights, I had a friend call me about this recently. If you've missed anything else that we've said, listen to this. When you are flying domestic airlines in other countries, meaning your European countries, you know how we have our budget airlines here, our Spirit, our Frontier? Other companies have similar budget airlines. The baggage allowance is typically not the same. We might get away with, I'm throwing out numbers, a 40-pound carry-on bag here. Over there, it may be 25 pounds. It'll probably be in kilograms, not
Hmm.
pounds. But No, if you are flying internationally and you are taking an airline that's not based in the US, know what their baggage allowances are before you decide you're going to pack a carry-on bag and make it work, because I'm still not advertising for you to pack a check bag. I'm just saying, know how many draws you can take with you.
Exactly. I remember my mom and I don't know if you remember WOW Airlines, and my mom and I flew to Iceland on WOW Airlines, and I had told her, like, hey, the baggage allowance is X, Y, and Z, right? And it was kilograms and not pounds. And my mom didn't listen to me, and she overpacked, right? It was beyond the weight limit. When you're traveling with these budget European airlines, that overweight baggage fee is not cheap. I think our overweight baggage fee was $150 for that particular airline. They're now out of business, but it was wild, and it was a lesson learned. I was very new to the travel game at that part, but I remember that was a really valuable lesson.
For sure. If I was to ask you the same question, what would your answer be?
Um, during the last year and this year, I think I have had the most travel mishaps. It was almost embarrassing to be a expert traveler and have all of these hiccups, right? But I mean, some of them were my fault, and some, you can't help, like your flight getting diverted from landing at Reagan to being landing at Dulles. Like, that's a huge inconvenience, but it's not my fault. So one thing I've learned is to go with the flow. As long as you got some money, everything will work out in your favor. But last year, I went to Vegas for my friend's birthday, and I packed my bag. I took my shower. I was the first one on the trip to have to go home. And I was sitting in the bathroom doing whatever, and I'm like, oh, you didn't check the time. And I forgot what time my flight was leaving, right? So when I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, my flight boards in 20 minutes and I am in the bathroom at the hotel, right? So I I hurried up and got to the hotel. I mean, hurried up, grabbed my bags, got the Uber, headed to the airport. I forgot that I was flying Frontier. And with Frontier, even if you have a carry-on bag, you still have to pay you have to pay to bring your carry-on bag with you, but you also have to get a tag for the carry-on bag. And the line at the counter was like off the chain. So I'm like, yep, flight boards in 20 minutes. There is no way that I'm going to get through security, even with pre-check and clear, and get through this line and still make it. So I'm like, all right, I am going to miss this flight. I'm gonna go ahead and book another flight. So I go outside because I see that Spirit Airlines has a flight that is landing in Baltimore like 30 minutes after I was originally supposed to get back, right?
Mm-hmm.
For those that don't know, if you book your flight at the counter with Allegiant, Frontier, or Spirit, it is much cheaper than if you were to book it online. So I'm like, all right, the flight is $286 if I book it online. Let me head over to the Spirit counter. Well, Spirit was in a totally different terminal, right? So I go outside. I'm like, uh, I didn't realize that in Vegas, you cannot hail a taxi. You have to go to a specific area to actually pick a taxi up. You cannot be like, hey, taxi, you can't do that. So I'm like, look, taxi driver, I know you cannot pick me up, but I will give you $50 right now if you can take me to the terminal where Spirit Airlines is, right? Get to the Spirit counter, and I'm like, I need to buy a ticket. They were like, you can't buy your ticket until this line goes down because these people are getting ready to board a flight. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll wait. I wait, which was like 30 minutes for them to get everyone through the line. And by the time I got to the counter, the flight had sold out. So I'm like, okay, what's the plan B? While I'm sitting there, I book another flight for with United, right? Way more than I wanted to pay. I think that flight was like $500, right? Rush and get through security, all that, only for two things to happen. One, my original flight with Frontier was delayed, and two, um, my flight with United was now delayed. Okay, because the flight had a flat tire, so we don't end up getting on the flight until We don't end up getting on the flight until I think like two hours later, right? We get on the flight. They're like, the tires changed. Well, I go to sleep because I don't know how to stay awake on the plane. An hour and a half later, I wake up and we are still sitting right there. The plane has not taken off, right? They finally take off maybe like 30 minutes after I woke up. And they're like, we're headed to Colorado for our layover. We get to Colorado, and when we land, they're like, there are 10 people on this flight that have 10 minutes to get to where they are. I'm one of the people, right? They're like, they gotta get to their gate before they miss their flight. Can you all please let them off the flight first? So what does everyone do? Because America is just such a nice place. Everyone gets up at the same time. They don't let none of us off, right? I'm carrying this huge backpack because I now had to check my carry-on bag, because if you don't know, if you are flying basic economy and you have status with an airline, it don't matter, because basic economy means that you're going to board last, and that means that you probably not going to be able to put your carry-on bag in the overhead bin. So I had to check my bag. I want y'all to remember that my bag is checked. When we landed, I looked and it said it is going to take you 14 minutes to get from where you are right now to where your flight is your flight is boarded. I have never ran so fast in my life with this heavy backpack. I was running so fast and I was yelling and I was crying, but not crying because I was upset, but crying like, I guess my adrenaline, it was a lot. So I'm running and I'm yelling, I'm gonna miss my flight, move out my way. And it's a line of people following me. I'm like the leader of all the people that's about to miss this flight to Baltimore. So I'm running, and I get to this lady and I'm like, move out the way, because I'm not slowing down. And she wasn't moving. So guess what I had to do? Push her out the way. And I'm running, only for us to get to the gate, out of breath. And they say, we're holding the flight for 15 minutes for y'all. Now, why y'all ain't say that? Why y'all ain't tell us that when we got off the plane? Because now we sitting here running. It's not over. Because when I get on the plane, somebody is sitting in my seat. And she's asleep. So I'm like, ma'am, you need to get up. The guy in the middle's like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to tell you to tell old girl, get up. Okay? This is my seat. I done paid for it. I am stressed. I am tired. I was supposed to be home hours ago. Get out my seat. So now it's a whole ordeal. Ankles was cracking. My check knees light was on. I'm telling you, when I finally sat down, I was like, bring me 5 shots of 5 little things of Tito's and a bottle of cranberry juice, because I am done. But that's not it. When I landed, the people told me to go to the wrong area to pick up the car, to pick up the shuttle to take me to where my car was. So I'm standing out there in the freezing cold at the wrong door because the lady told me to do X, Y, and Z. End up catching an Uber to the parking place. Get to the parking place. Get to my car to pay for parking, and my card declines because the bank done said there's been fraud on my credit card. At that point, I was at my wit's end, and I bust out crying. I was like, I ain't got nothing left to give, and I'm about to drive through this gate. Okay. Somebody heard me scream, "What the fuck?" And they can't even swipe their card. They saved the day. I went home and I think I drank a whole bottle of Tito's because I couldn't. I was done. So that was really the trip that really it really stretched me. My problem solving skills was good in the beginning, but by the end of the day, I ain't had nothing left to give. I was about to be out of the travel game after that.
Don't you hate them days though? Like when life just been throwing stuff at you all day and you've been handling it. Like you have been just, I'm taking this. Okay, this don't feel good. You know, okay, I shared 2 tears at lunch, but I'm still handling it. Then you get to the end of the day and it be that one thing, and you be like, you know what? This is it. Like people say it on social media. That's like when the door grab you and tell your favorite dress, or when you drop something and break it. Like those days be the worst. So,
girl, I'm telling you, Okay, Samantha publicist said, "What made you travel after that?" Because one thing about me, your girl gonna be gone. She's going to be on a trip. But the thing about it is, every trip after that still had some foolishness. Every
That's
single
just
trip.
travel sometimes. If you don't have good problem solving skills, or like if you panic more than you resolve, right now, especially, you need to be real mindful of the trips you take. Traveling right now, just remember, you probably gonna have a flight delay. Your flight gonna get
Hmm.
canceled. You might have to stay an extra night. If you are somebody that cannot handle changing your plans and a pivot, this just might not be the time to really travel, because travel right now is real complex, especially if you're taking long haul flights. And even right now, when we have a full service travel company, I have narrowed my niche down to just Caribbean right now because that's the closest. But for my clients that are like, hey, well, I really want to go to Dubai, I really want to go here. Before I book you, I have to have some real conversations with you. Like, if your flight gets canceled, how are you going to be able to handle that? You can call me and I can walk you through it, but I can only do so much from this end. I don't have no
Hmm.
problem yet. Not yet. I'm praying for it. Me and God and talked about it, but not yet. I don't even have no boat, no canoe,
But it's
kayak,
coming.
nothing.
The boat is coming.
So I can't come get you. And if every other flight that day is gone, like, it's not a time to travel if you come to work late one more time. That's it. And then you decide you're gonna go to Europe. You better have a plan after that. That's it. If you know, like, you only have 7 days worth of medication, you better get a refill and take 12 just in case. And it's not that these things can't be figured out. This is not a be scared. This is just that you got to have the ability to pivot right now if you're going to get out here and travel, especially long haul.
Absolutely. La India, who we had flying first class that we had on a couple of months ago, she had posted a couple of times, like, traveling is not always super
She been
glamorous.
going
And
through it with some of her trips.
baby, she be going through it, but
Uh-huh.
it's the type of things that happen, right? And so you have to be able to, like, quickly figure out, what am I going to do, right? So
For sure.
when we were coming back from Brazil, I flew on a partner airline. I flew with LATAM Airlines, which is a partner of Delta, right? And so I had to fly from Rio to Sao Paulo. That was the first leg of my flight. Well, when I went to check in, I thought it would check me in for each leg of my flight, and it didn't. It only checked me in for the first leg. So when I got through security and I went to go through the gate at in Sao Paulo, I'm like, whoa, I don't have a boarding pass for my next leg. I then had to figure out, one, where the Delta counter was, because now that I was in Sao Paulo, I was now no longer flying with the partner airline. I was going directly on Delta. One thing that you need to know how to say is, where is the ticketing counter for your airline? I did not speak Portuguese. Nobody really spoke English. That everyone was like, I speak it a little bit. So I had to figure out, one, how to say what I needed, and how to get there, because the clock was ticking. I think I had an hour and 15 minutes to get straight, and I still needed to go through customs, right? And so it's really, really important that you not panic. I think I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I panicked a little bit, but I'm gonna tell y'all why I panicked. I had said multiple times that I tried to check in on my phone to get the boarding pass, and that it wasn't work. It wouldn't work. It said that it was too close to my boarding time, right? There are certain people, and I'm trying very hard to be politically correct. There are certain people that they just don't listen, right? And sometimes they like to make you feel dumb. And
Mm-hmm.
so I saw an American couple, or I don't even know if they're American, they spoke English. And I was telling them what I needed, and she spoke Spanish. She spoke Portuguese too, and I told her what I needed, and she was like, "Oh." And I said, "I cannot find my confirmation number in my email, right?" So she finds it, and she was like, "Oh, I'm about to check you in now." And I'm like, "You're not. It's not going to work. I'm telling you that it's too late for me to check in on my phone." And she's like, "Oh no, it's letting me do it." No, it's not. It's going to give you an error message. And she was like, "I'm almost done." And I was like, "Okay." And then she said, it's giving me an error." And she looked surprised. And I'm like, "I done said it 7 times." And at that point, I was so frustrated that I just had tears in my eyes because I'm like, nobody is listening to me here, right?
Mhm.
Finally get to the counter for someone to help me, and the guy says, "You really shouldn't wait so long to get your boarding pass." Did you not hear anything I said? That the app did not check me in for my flight? And so you can't lose your cool. You have to you have to stay calm because it's not going to help you. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to snatch the phone from her. It
Yeah.
was a lot. But anyway, you have to be flexible. And so one of the things that I learned is make sure you know how to say, where's the ticketing counter for
Mhm.
my airline in the language of whatever country you are visiting.
That Brazil trip kicked our behind. If you're
But we
on,
had a blast
stay
though.
on, we did. It was amazing. If you're on, now's the time to grab your friends too, because in just a second, we're going to have another prize coming up. We're going to have another prize.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see how well you know your travel trivia when it comes to popular culture. And so,
Yes.
but before we kind of segue into that, I want to share something too I learned about that trip to Brazil. First off, that was one of my favorite trips this year for sure, but one of my just favorite authentic trips. We ate so good on that trip. We had authentic experiences. Like that was a good trip. And we're
Hands
actually
down.
going to have the founder of the tourism company that showed us around. She'll be on our show in January, and that'll be a good episode to tune into because Brazil just made some significant changes. Now you have to have a visa. It won't just be anymore. You can just go like we did and buy flights. But speaking of that, when I got ready for my flight, I swear, like Jennifer said, I wanted to lose it at the airport. I was so mad. So my flight had a layover. My original flight had a layover in Colombia. So as part of when I checked in, I had to do a visa application, like a short little visa application just for my layover going through Colombia. I had to get on their website and do all that. On the website, it would not let me submit. So I'm standing there. First, I'm trying to get some help, and I'm looking around. Nobody's there. So I walk up to a woman wearing a vest, and she's like, "Ask the women over there not working. That's who should be helping you." So I'm like, I already know it's some whatever going on in here. So I walk over, get the ladies. They come over there. She's like, "Well, just keep trying to submit it." And I'm like, it's getting closer to the deadline where I have to check in or I won't be able to get my boarding pass. "Oh, well, it'll be fine. Just keep doing it. We'll make sure." By the time it came through, I tried to get my boarding pass. It comes through, it says, "Unfortunately, you're too late to board." After they had stood around and not helped and told me I would be fine. But the blessing that came out of it was I ended up getting a nonstop flight to Brazil. And let me tell you how that worked too. If you're going to have to pay for a replacement flight, do not take no for an answer until no is the only answer. If they say you're going to have to pay $1,000 to replace your flight, you don't lose anything by calling as well and making the people on the phone tell you that too. And let me tell you why. Because at the counter, they told me it was my fault because I waited too late to check in. It didn't matter. I had been standing up there and they were not helping and that I couldn't do anything. And they saw that it was because the boarding pass wouldn't print. And I knew the plane was still there. I knew they could have let me in, but I'm like, okay, whatever. She's like, "I can get you on the nonstop flight, but it's gonna be $1,000." I'm like, "No, I'm not paying that." Then she calls their support number. Their support number is like, "Tell her we can give it to her for $925." No, this is not my
It's
fault.
still not gonna work.
Right. So she said, "Well, maybe you can call customer service yourself and talk to somebody." I called customer service. Y'all want to know how much I paid for that flight?
Well, girl,
That
tell us.
nonstop flight? Nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I had a flight where I had a layover in Panama for like 10 hours, but that was fine. I was going to stop and just explore because I'd never been. I got on a nonstop flight from Houston to Rio de Janeiro. Allegedly, I missed the flight because of me. I didn't have to pay $1.
I know
That
that's
man
right.
paid my flight.
I know that's because it's really important for you to know the ins and outs because there's a lot of things that people they don't tell you right with travel because they don't expect you to read the fine print, right? But if you know what you're doing and you advocate for yourself, the airline gonna give
And
you
be
what you
nice.
need.
Be nice. If
Oh
you
yeah, be
a lot
nice.
of times they will help you. I know it's frustrating. I know you want to lose your stuff, but just take a deep breath, go in the bathroom, cry if you have to get yourself together. But they will most times help you if you're
Mm-hmm.
and humble.
Absolutely.
I get it. It's their fault. They were rude, but your goal was to get home as fast as you can, spending as least money as you can. But because that's one of those situations where they have more power than you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um,
So, ready for
you
our question?
ready? Okay. So, all right, guys. So put your thinking cap on and we're going to rewind to the 90s. Where did Martin take Gina on their tropical vacation?
Join the live or drop it in the comments.
Join the live or drop it in the comments to give your answer. So I'm asking again, where did Martin and Gina go for their tropical vacation? If you answer, you automatically win our giveaway. And I know that there is someone on here. Not the What was the name of the place? I don't remember the name of
Now
the
both,
hotel.
and we'll let you know which one is right.
Right. I don't even remember the name of the hotel.
Where did Martin take Gina?
Yes, I know y'all know. Joe, this or that, I know you know the answer to this. What?
Mm-mm.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not even close. That's very close. That is very close. But no. Yes.
There you go.
There you go. You
Good
won
job.
Gilligan's Island.
Good job. Kenyatta, slide in my DMs with your address. You are the winner of our second giveaway for tonight. Our second giveaway for tonight. If you're just joining us, this is Sips and Trips. We absolutely love talking to you guys about travel while enjoying some of our favorite sips. It's the holiday season, so right now it's eggnog. Join us. You never know when we'll have special guests on, when we'll have giveaways. Sips and Trips is all about travel, good experiences, and that's just talking about the real stuff when it comes to travel between us and our hosts, our guest hosts.
Absolutely. And for those that missed it, the answer was Chilligan's Island. And he
Gilligan's
found Chilligan's Island and he found
That
the
ain't no
resort
damn
on the
puppy.
that ain't no damn puppy. And he found a resort on the back of the cereal box. So anyway, thank you for entering the giveaway. We will definitely be having some more giveaways because that actually was really fun.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
our last question for the night is one that we talk about frequently. I feel like especially when I'm with friends and we tend to be out the country having some type of experience, like whether it's fine dining, whether it's being on a boat, whether it's dining in the sky, just luxury experiences, beautiful experiences, whatever those things are. And then we have to think about, just the state of the world. When you're traveling through some of these beautiful places like Jamaica, and then you have to go through the shanty parts where you see the kids outside with no shoes on, you know that there are no running waters in these neighborhoods sometimes. What do you feel like traveling has taught you about humility?
Um, One of the most humbling experiences I have had is when I volunteered in what do you call those places in South Africa? The townships.
A
It's
township.
township. Yes. Okay. So we volunteered in a township of Massapumalele. And I don't think I really knew what I was going to get myself into. But it was such a humbling experience because one, we had to sleep in a volunteer house. The volunteer house, at that time, South Africa was in a drought. So you could not wash your hands. They had signs up and you couldn't flush the toilet either. So they had signs up that said, if it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, let it mellow. So if you was peeing, you could not flush the toilet. They had taken the knobs off of the sinks and stuff like that. We were limited to 2-minute showers. On top of that, Our mattresses were about this thin. You could feel the planks under the bed. I slept inside my fitted sheet that I had brought with me. So just and also we had to fill the toilets up ourselves with water, right? You had to go outside, fill the bucket up, and then pour it in there. And I thought to complain, right? However, when we went to the school that we were volunteering at in the township, those kids didn't even have toilet paper, something that we take for granted, right? They were pooping and peeing and just pulling their pants right back up. They ate the same thing every single day. They ate masa every single day, and maybe for snack they had an apple, but they were so thankful. I get mad if I have to eat the same thing 3 days in a row when these kids were eating the same thing for months at a time, but they were so thankful. They didn't have much. Some of them smelled bad, but they were so happy and so thankful. And all I can think of is, how dare I complain where they don't even have a pinky's worth of what I have, and they're so thankful. And so it was extremely humbling to me to realize really how privileged I am. The things I take for granted, like electricity, running water, being able to flush the toilet, you know?
I think that's a good answer. And I always love how much of a visual storyteller you are. Like,
Oh, I'm
you can
sorry. It do
see
it be too much.
all of that. No, I love it. I love it
Okay.
because you can see it, you can feel it. I love it. But I think for me, one of the biggest but smallest ones, I think when I started realizing like just how privileged it was to be able to travel, was one of my first trips to Jamaica. And I remember us driving up to where Bob Marley was born. I can't think of the name of the place.
Trenchtown.
Huh?
Was it Trenchtown?
Mm-mm. Um, it's like okay, the place, I'll think about it and I'll post it in my story. But we were driving up there, whatever, and you drive through like the real neighborhoods where you have the houses that are made of like aluminum, tin, things like that. There's no running water. You see the kids outside with no shoes on, they're running behind the vehicles. Not St. Catherine's. Um, and you're looking at this, and then like when you pull away from them, they're going back to playing with each other. They're happy, they're playing soccer, they're doing these things, they're laughing. Because one thing I realized is that you don't, and I don't use this lightly because I'll say it about myself too, you don't sometimes know you're from the trenches until you get out the trenches. Because if that's all you know, there's only so much you know about the outside world. But like
Right, right.
seeing how happy they are with so little kind of made me feel the same way, like grateful. Like I have a lot. 9 Mile, we went to 9 Mile. And it makes me realize too, like it's a privilege that I was born in a place where running water, electricity, things like this are just parts of my everyday life. I don't even think about these things, or even if, let's say, you hit rock bottom, shelters in America are horrible, but there are places where a shelter here is way better than what they ever have access to. And it just reminds me to be grateful with what I have, and just to understand too sometimes when I'm thinking from a place of privilege, because I do good at checking myself with that when I get ready to address certain things that really are the big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
I'll tell y'all in a minute, that's your privilege talking. Like that's your privilege.
Absolutely. And that's why I prefer to travel with people who are flexible, right? And open minded. Because when you get to certain countries, baby, it just might not be what it might not be what you expected,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that trip to South Africa, I wasn't prepared for what we had. I wasn't prepared for what we had to experience. Not that it was all bad, but I've been to other places too where it was like, okay, like you really going to have to go with the flow, be respectful. Okay, we have to sleep two to a bed. It's fine. It's only for a couple of
Yep.
days. So when you get home, you can go back into your nice, comfy bed by yourself. You know what I mean? You have to really and see the benefits of traveling. It allow us to open your mind to other experiences of living and not just the American mindset.
For sure.
You're
For
absolutely right. It's part of the reason why I won't travel with picky eaters, because you can't have McDonald's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm a picky eater.
No,
No, but I'm
baby.
gonna make a way though. I'm not gonna complain. I'm
Well,
gonna find.
wait. I mean, no, we ate some different foods in Brazil, and you was just fine. We tore that food down that first night, and we didn't know what the heck we was eating.
Y'all, I'm gonna say this: when we do that episode for Brazil, that's one you don't want to miss. And we'll be announcing the dates for January soon. That food in Brazil was so good. I know that Brazil is the place that foodies go. That food, I ate the best oxtails of my life in
The
Brazil.
rice and the beans, man.
The
You
rice,
ain't never had
black
rice
beans,
and beans
oh
so
my
good.
God. We ate so much amazing food. Like, who we ate some good food. But Instagram is going to cut us off in exactly 1 or 2 minutes for our.
No, it's going to cut us off at 10:08 because we started late.
Thank you, Jesus. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, for those of you who are just joining us, Sips and Trips is something that Jennifer and I love working on. We love bringing you this material. If you enjoy it, please definitely make sure that you are going to YouTube and watching our full videos, sharing it with your friends as we continue to grow this. Right now it's the Instagram live series, but our goal is to move it into podcast form. But as we just begin to grow this platform, if you think of people that we should add, people that you love that have made an impact on you when it comes to travel, definitely send them our way, because we are looking to continuously grow Sips and Trips, but not just other hosts, but also share some beverages. If you've been out the country, if you have beverages you've fallen in love with, if you know liquor brands that you think it would be great to partner with, definitely reach out to us and let us know, because this is something that we look forward to continuing to grow in 2024.
Absolutely, and we have a couple announcements that we'll be making next year. Next year is really filled with a lot of promise for Sips and Trips, so it's going to just get bigger and bigger, and better too. One last question.
Okay.
Okay, so when we become parents, I know both of us do have the desire of motherhood. We'll be able to give our families experiences that our parents, only dreamed of. How do you think you will handle keeping your children humble and avoiding them having a sense of entitlement because they've experienced so many things that other people haven't?
That's a beautiful question. And, Jennifer and I kind of talked about this briefly yesterday, just in looking at some of the things going on in popular media, kids that have grown up with a lot, not realizing their entitlement. And if you are parents, definitely feel free to chime in the comments. But I know for me, I always want my kids to know that travel is a privilege. Like, I want them to see how hard I work for that. I want them to see like what these actual places look like outside of just touristy places. I want them to know how much it costs to go to these places. I want them to know that being able to go to these places is not something just because you're attached to mommy and she's going, you get to go to, if your behavior and your academics don't match that. Because travel is a privilege, and until you start traveling, you don't realize how many people will never be able to leave their home countries because of cost, because of citizenship, because of these different things. And one of the things that we see a lot now with kids is just their sense of entitlement, and just that instant gratification. They need everything immediately. And travel is something that just shows you how big the world is and how small you are. And so I would want them to know that being able to enjoy those things is a privilege, but also to understand other people don't live like you.
And that's really it right there. Giving them. I didn't realize because the child support down payment. I didn't realize one day I had an epiphany and I was like, Mommy, I realized that sometimes you told me no, not because you couldn't afford it, but because I can't always have what I want, right? And I think that now we live Travels by Tania is the YouTube page. I think now we live in an era, I can't speak for Houston, but I'm gonna speak for the DMV. We make way more money than our parents ever did. I saw a story today about a teenager walking down the street with a $1,400 coat, right? We was never doing $1,400 coats, okay? I was getting...
I had a starter jacket, but that was it.
Girl, I didn't even get that. I remember everybody was wearing first down coats, and my father bought me a Bear Mountain coat. It said Bear Mountain on the back with a big old bear climbing up the mountain. It wasn't no way to discreetly wear that coat. Okay. He was like, the coat is made of down. So it is a first down coat. Whatever. Okay. I was triggered. But anyway, it made me realize, like, I know when I'm a parent, I don't want to, yes, girl, a teenager with a moose knuckles coat that was $1,400, make it make sense. But I don't want to be, I want to make sure, like, my kids, like, no, you can't have that today. And it's not because I can't afford it, but you can't always have what you want when you want it, right? You need to work towards this. I am going to have them do certain things like, okay, yes, we're going to Paris, but you all need to be doing X, Y, and Z to earn this trip, earn this trip to Paris, because mommy is working hard to be able to afford this trip. So you need to keep up your end of the bargain.
But you know what else? What else is a privilege for us as parents? Our parents were just trying to make it. We're trying to make it, and we have a little bit more, so we're able to sit back and observe, and kind of be like, "Yeah, I don't want to do that." We can. We have a little bit more money to kind of show our kids a few more things. But when you have money, you have a little bit more patience most of the time, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents were just trying to survive, so it's
Just
kind of
trying to survive.
being alive today, and just even knowing one day for those of us that want kids and don't have them, and for people that have kids, our kids have access to so much more, but I feel like to whom much is given, much is required, and let's just make sure
Absolutely.
that we never forget that these are privileges, these are blessings, these are not things that everybody has access to, and they also are things that not everybody will experience.
Absolutely. And I really want to make sure that I'm giving them that constant reminder when they're of age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have 3 minutes until it's time to go. We will be back in 2 weeks with actually a fun episode. We will have
Yes,
multiple
yes,
people
yes.
joining us. Several of our past guests will be joining us, so we'll be sipping with them and catching up on what they've been up to. So please make sure you tune in on December 20th.
Yes.
And you have anything you want to say?
I don't. I'm really excited about December 20th because we haven't seen some of our guests since we did that episode with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it should be really fun. It's actually a sponsored episode, so we'll be sipping some fun sips provided by the company, and that's one of the things that we're excited about just as we continue to grow. I'm super excited. So be on the lookout for our flyers and our reels, preparing you for our episode on the 20th. It is going to be a good time. So I promise you, some of your favorite old guests are going to be on there, and it's going to be fun.
Yes, it will. So
Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
If you haven't already followed us, definitely make sure you're following Jennifer and Red Lips and Passport, me, the House of Tania, and Travels by Tania. We thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks.